Hi, series recapped here. Today, I am going to explain the third part of a post-apocalyptic science fiction series called The 100. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. 17 years ago, Bellamy's mother gave birth to Octavia in private. She was crying in pain and discomfort but refused to call a doctor because no woman was allowed to have a second child in the Ark. Bellamy made sure his little sister was okay after her birth and took care of her ever since. They hid her inside a tiny compartment in the ground before every inspection. Octavia grew up never meeting anyone other than her brother and mother. For the first 16 years of her life, she was confined in a room and often under the floor. Their mother seduced higher officials and got Bellamy a job as a guard. This ensured a bit more safety, but it didn't help Octavia's loneliness. One day, some teens organized a neighborhood mascot party, giving her the perfect opportunity to go out without being caught. Bellamy was a guard and could protect her, so he allowed her to have fun for the evening. But things went wrong when the party had to be stopped by a solar flare. The security guards arrived to ensure their safety, but it ended up in Octavia getting caught. As a result, their mother was floated, Bellamy was kicked out of his job, and Octavia was imprisoned. 1 year later, the commander called Bellamy to speak in private. By now, Bellamy was a mere janitor who hadn't met his sister in over a year. The commander told him about the 100 being sent to the Earth and Octavia being a part of it. He knew that Bellamy wouldn't leave his sister alone and would do anything to get to her. Hence, in turn for a seat in the dropship, the commander gave Bellamy a gun and asked him to shoot the Chancellor. Bellamy took the opportunity and is now on the Earth. Currently, in the camp, he notices that Octavia is missing. He looks through all the tents but cannot seem to find her. Clark is still mad at him for breaking the radio, but she agrees to help him find his sister. Then we see Octavia wake up in a room where she was brought by a grounder. When she notices that the bone in her knee is severely dislocated, suddenly a grounder appears in front of her. He uses a hot metal rod to attack her and the screen goes black. Back in the camp, the 100 organize a search party at Bellamy's order. Finn is tense because he has started to like Clark, but now that Raven has risked her life to come to him, he doesn't know what to do next. He tries talking to Clark, but she dismisses the conversation. She wants to back off knowing that Raven needs him more than she does. Outside, the group notices several flashing lights in the sky. They register the lights as the dead bodies of the people being thrown away from the Ark. Bellamy is to blame for all the deaths because if he hadn't thrown the radio away, they could have informed the Ark on time. He doesn't want to talk about it at the moment and instead focuses on looking for Octavia. Finn joins the search party while Clark and Raven work on building a radio. A while later, Octavia wakes up again and sees that her knee has been treated. It turns out the grounder who appeared earlier was trying to help her. Still, she knows that she cannot stay in the room for too long and starts looking for a way out. She finds a loose stone on the wall and manages to crawl through the tiny space in between it. This reminds her of all the hours she used to spend in the tiny compartment under the floor. Her trauma resurfaces, but she calms herself down. Eventually, she makes it outside and runs away. Somewhere else, the group finds Octavia's traces and follows them down to the opening of the grounder's area. It is remains of human bones hung from the trees to keep others away. Most people return to the camp not willing to risk their lives, but Bellamy, Jasper, Finn, and a few more of their friends keep walking forward. Meanwhile, Raven and Clark come to the bunker to look for mechanical parts that they need to fix the radio. Raven talks to Clark about her mother, but she is in no mood to listen. After finding out her mother was the cause of Jake's death, she doesn't want to think about her at all. Moreover, a strange awkwardness prevails between Clark and Raven because of Finn. They find a remote-controlled toy car that has all the parts needed for the radio. While looking around, Raven discovers a tiny metal sculpture of a two-headed deer that the group saw when they first landed. Finn made it for Clark a few days ago when they were together. Raven knows that Finn only makes those for the people he loves and realizes that he was with Clark before her arrival. Bellamy and the group are going forward when one of their friends is abducted by a grounder who had been hiding in the trees. Soon they are attacked by many other grounders who are much more skilled hunters than them. All Bellamy can do is run for his life and hope no one gets killed. Suddenly, a guy steps into the grounder's trap and is impaled to a sharp branch. Similarly, a girl is killed as well. Somewhere nearby, Octavia sees her friends and is about to catch them, but the grounder who helped her earlier stops her. He calms her down and brings her back to the hideout they were in. Octavia registers he is trying to save her from the other grounders who are killing her friends. Hence, she doesn't resist when he takes her back. When she is tired of walking, he even picks her up. Octavia tries talking to him, but he doesn't reply, making her believe he doesn't understand their language. In the hideout, he chains her down to keep her from running away again. Back in the woods, Bellamy and the group are surrounded by the killer grounders. They are seconds away from being attacked when a war horn blares, alerting everyone of an acid fog coming their way. The grounders run away, leaving the group in panic. Since they do not have time to find a safe place, they take cover under a tent and hope for the best. A few minutes later, they come outside to notice the alarm was false. Then Bellamy notices the grounder who saved Octavia. He follows the guy to the hideout. It's clear that the grounder is helping them find her, but the group doesn't realize it. Back in the bunker, the girls find what they are looking for and return to the camp. Clark notices Raven is quieter than usual and inquires what is wrong. Raven comes clean and asks her if she was hooking up with Finn. Clark stays silent, but it only confirms Raven's accusation. She is so attached to Finn that she doesn't care that he cheated on her. Instead, she wants to forget about it and continue being his girlfriend. In the hideout, the grounder returns to Octavia, but she knocks him out before he does any harm. Just then, Bellamy and the group arrive and get her out of the chains. Bellamy wants to kill the grounder, but Octavia stops him. Suddenly, the grounder wakes up and stabs Finn in the chest. Before passing out, Finn notices a blowhorn on the man, which means he was the one who saved them from the other grounders. The group knocks him out and holds him hostage. They rush to the camp with an injured Finn. Clark and Raven are both shocked because the knife is still inside his body. They need to talk to Abby now more than ever because Clark cannot save Finn without her mother's expertise. Raven works hard on trying to build the radio now that she has all the required parts. In the meantime, the council is in a hearing to discuss the crime Abby committed. Everything she did is punishable by death, but since her medical expertise is needed in the Ark, her crimes are pardoned. Still, she is removed as a member of the council. Abby argues that the flash they saw yesterday was a signal from the people on Earth. Kane asks her to stop with all the conspiracy theories, but is cut off by static on the radio. Raven has finally established communication with the Ark. Her voice is heard all around the Ark when she reveals that the Earth is inhabitable. Everyone in the council panics and doesn't know what they should do now. Clark speaks from the other end, asking her mother for help to save Finn's life. While everyone is overjoyed, the Chancellor finds out that his son is dead. He lets Abby talk to Clark and walks away to compose himself. At the same time, Bellamy and his minions bring the grounder to the camp and tie him up. They want to use him to find out more about his people so they can be prepared for the next attack. Clark and Raven sterilize themselves, getting ready to take the knife out of Finn. However, the procedure must be done with precision for him to survive. The connection to the other side is lost several times throughout the process, making it more difficult. In the vault, Bellamy has tied up the grounder against Octavia's wish. She begs him to let the man go because he saved her life, but Bellamy doesn't listen. To him, this is about his people and not just his sister. Then we are introduced to Diana, the former Chancellor of the Ark who was voted out by the people. She informs the Chancellor that the people are furious about their loved one's death in the execution when there was a way for all of them to survive. Even though the Chancellor doesn't like her, he agrees that he has to come clean to the people. Back in the camp, Clark brings out the knife from Finn's chest. A sudden thunder causes him to fall off the table, but the procedure is successful. Lastly, Clark sews the wound and saves Finn's life. After that, Abby wants to talk to her daughter, but Clark refuses to listen. Bellamy goes through the grounder's belongings and finds a box of herbs alongside a notebook. The book contains sketches of the camp, the woods, and one of Octavia. It also has the numbering of the people who have died in the camp. Clark comes to the vault to ask Bellamy to let the grounder go. If they keep him hostage, his people will be angered. However, Bellamy doesn't care about the aftermath. He thinks the grounders will attack them one way or the other, and the only way to stop them is to be prepared. All of a sudden, Finn goes into a seizure. The girls panic when they find out that the knife he was stabbed with was poisoned. Meanwhile, Cain is the most troubled by the revelation that the Earth is habitable. He blames himself for killing 300 people for no reason. If only he had waited for a few more hours, those deaths could have been avoided. The people feel the same and try to attack him. The Chancellor stops everyone and arranges a meeting with the common people. He wants to follow in Jake's footsteps and keep no lies in between the council and the public. In the meeting, he tells them everything about the 100 and how the Earth has affected them. He also claims that the execution of their loved ones has brought them time because they couldn't have made it to the Earth at the current rate. Still, the people do not believe the council. Since they trust and follow Diana, the Chancellor replaces Abby with her. When she asks the people for support, they agree and join hands with the council. But then, we notice Diana sharing knowing eye contact with a man from the crowd who was the primary protester. They had planned to make a fuss so she would be taken into the council, and the idea worked. When Finn's condition gets worse, Clark runs to the grounder and begs him to reveal where the antidote is. She lays down the herbs in front of him, begging him to choose. When he still doesn't talk, Bellamy torches him with a belt. Octavia tries her best to stop them, but even Clark supports Bellamy as long as she gets the antidote. Raven takes the matter into her hands and electrocutes the helpless grounder. Still, the man doesn't speak. In the end, Octavia takes a knife and cuts herself. The grounder cannot see her get hurt, so he points towards a herb. After Finn is given the antidote, he falls asleep. Abby finally gets a chance to talk to Clark and asks her what's wrong. She is left speechless when Clark accuses her of Jake's death. Abby cannot deny it, but insists that she only told the Chancellor because she wanted him to talk Jake out of doing anything illegal. Still, Clark cannot forgive her for it. In the vault, Octavia is cleaning the grounder's wound when quietly whispers "thank you," proving that he can understand their language. However, Octavia cannot stay with him for longer because of her brother's minion keeping an eye on them. At the same time, Finn wakes up. He meets Clark before she directs him to his girlfriend. She doesn't want to come in between the two now that Raven is here. On the Ark, a council meeting takes place to discuss the next step. They have to start Project Exodus, a procedure of sending all the inhabitants of the Ark to the ground. However, it is complicated because the population is over 2,000 and there are only 700 dropships. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.